What it do, what it do, what it do. Welcome back to the show. And for everybody who's first time, please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And if you at that thanks button on the bottom, please hit that thanks button and make a generous donation. I really appreciate that. Today I wanna just first and foremost, let me say this. Kendrick Lamar, man, he killed it. Once again, it's been a long time coming, but he did his thing. That Heart 5 video is clearly, and I don't give a damn what nobody say, that's video of the year already. Video of the year already. It's a trip because Kendrick is not like what I don't know. He hip hop. Kendrick is hip hop. I love hip hop, and I'm gonna tell y'all about hip hop and gang banging. See, I come up at a time when before we had rap music out here, where you had gang bangers, all we listened to was oldies. We didn't really have no rap like they got now. Rap. See, that's the difference too. Let me put this out there. Let me say this. That's the difference with the generations of gang bangers. I'm from a generation where my generation influenced the rappers. A lot of these cats now, the rappers influencing the generation. Think about it. It's the truth. It's deep, but it's the truth. Rappers influencing generation these days. My generation influenced rappers, and what I mean by that, my generation come up at a time when we didn't have no all this social media stuff for one. We didn't have rappers. We didn't have rappers representing where they was from for damn show. Not like that. We didn't even have really nobody crip walking and none of that back then. So my generation influenced rappers later on when they started coming with that, when they started coming with the whole dress code, the khaki suits, the crip walking and all that. My generation influenced that. And back to what I was saying about uh, we used to know oldies a lot. It's a trip because you could see people, gang members, walking down the street with a radio, the boom box, and bumping the Tim Prees or Delphonics or something. Stylistics or something. Ohio players or something damn body. Cheers. But yeah, that's how it came up back in the days. You James Browns and all this old kind of stuff. Tom Brown. You gonna hear all this kind of music. This what I come up on. That's why people that know me, you see my playlist is really gonna be a lot of times some old '70s funk type shit. I mean, of course, I love hip hop, so I listen to of course, all the new rappers as well. I just follow it. I just love it. I love that culture because that culture is also connected to the gang culture in LA and everywhere nowadays. But for sure, I'm speaking on LA because that's where I'm from. The gang culture and the hip hop culture. So back in the days, like I said, we all used to bump oldies. All the G homies had oldies. Everybody listened to oldies. That's all we listened to. We had KGFJ in LA. We had 1580 KDA, the original 1580 KDA AM and AM KGFJ. We didn't have rap on the radio. We didn't have none of that. We had R&B. We had funk. We had soul. That's what we had. And then we had everything else pop. And well, I guess it wasn't even called pop back then. It was just called rock. But yeah, so it started out with just oldies. My first rap album, for me, I was talking to my homie Chill. Shout out to the homie Chill, 16 to Life. I was just telling Chill because I tripped off his intro. And he said his flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. And I was like, damn, Chill, what's up with that? Why you dissing Curtis Blow? Curtis Blow was hard. And I say that because my first rap album was a Curtis Blow album. Curtis Blow album, These Are the Breaks. And my second album, actually I think I got them at the same time, was the Sugar Hill. A lot of people in my generation's first rap album was Sugar Hill's Rappers Delight, that long ass version in a light blue jacket with the little funny bumblebee thing circling around it like that. That was the first two rap albums that a lot of cats from LA had. So I'm gonna tell y'all about hip hop on the West Coast. And I'm not a rapper, none of that, but I just love the culture. I love hip hop. I always love hip hop since it came out here. I still love it. And how it goes hand in hand with the gang culture. So when they came out here, with those two albums first, that's all we had we was still just banging oldies. Then behind that, what we started banging out here real tough with the oldies, the Curtis Blow, the Sugar Hill Gang, and on my bad, I can't forget. Before that, before Curtis Blow, before the Sugar Hill Gang, it was Parliament. Parliament was like rap music for gang bangers back in the days. A lot of times, Parliament song come on, house parties get turned out. Parliament was what today's generation rap music is. For the older generation, Parliament was the shit. Still is. Shout out to George Clinton and all the rest of them cats. I had the album cover where they showed how they landed the mothership at the Coliseum back then. Had the Flashlight album back then. Mom bought me all that shit. I had the Grapevine album when that came out a little later with the Zap with the big ass sun. Had all that, you know. But we was big on that. Gang members bumped that kind of music. So for me coming up as a youngster, I'm looking at the gang members. This was they bumped. Now, mind you, my mama graduated in 1969 from Locke. My pops graduated from Locke in 1970. All my family graduated from Locke. Locke was the last high school I went to as well. I didn't graduate, but that was the last high school I went to because the whole fam went there. Now, my family come up on that side of town, and you know, low riders and riding Craigers and all that. My pops and them, they did all that kind of stuff. And I listen, I've been around them, so I'm listening to what they bump, the music they play. So that's why I'm so familiar with know so many songs, so many like old songs from back in the '70s, '60s, all that. Grandmamas done bump a lot of music as well. So I always been musically inclined. I always loved music. Just love it. I still do. That's why I can listen to different genres, different types of music. I can listen to some rock. Not too much on the countryside. I don't understand some of it, but I will listen to certain country songs I do like, but I can't tell you too much about it. But I'm just open. I'm not that closed-minded type cat. My ears ain't closed when it comes to music. I can listen to different type of music because that's what I do. But back to hip hop. Hip hop, a lot of times be put together from all different types of music. That's hip hop. That's music. So out here, like I said in the beginning, for as rap concerned, it was Curtis Blow and Sugar Hill Gang. Then eventually we had, damn, it was a big ass gap. Let me tell y'all, it was this cat from up north, out of Oakland, a young dude. Anybody from Oakland that go back to the early '80s, it was a little young cat. I think he was dealing with Too Short. His name was T.O. Martin. He had a songs based, played on 1580 Katie all the time. He was like, I'm only 9. You know what I mean? So I go back into history of West Coast hip hop in LA. So again, we had Parliament, we had Curtis Blow, we had Sugar Hill Gang. Then we always had Parliament, George Clinton. George Clinton came through in '83 with the Atomic Dog. That was a big movement we had going on out here. They had all kind of other music going on, Genius of Love and all this old kind of stuff. Far as party thing going on, we had Uncle Jim's Army. Uncle Jim's Army was like, to me, I never seen nothing like Uncle Jim's Army. Never seen nothing like that. What Uncle Jim's Army did, nobody has ever done since. They was like the biggest party promoters, and where they used to flood the city with all these big ass posters on the wall. Uncle Jim's Army, Bobby Jimmy, them all on K-Day with all these little commercials. They luring us all in. Everybody want to go to Uncle Jim's Army. Uncle Jim's Army was all they had a like a little club. I think it was called a playpen or something like that on Crenshaw. I never been to the playpen, but what I've dealt with Uncle Jam's Army was at the sports arena when they threw their dances at the sports arena. That was like the big Crip convention, in my opinion. That's all you see was a bunch of Crips. It probably was Bloods in there. I don't know. But I remember just being around a lot of blue rags. I don't remember seeing no red rags during the times I went. It was just nothing but Crips in that thing. And at that time, certain Crips was getting into it, a little friction here and there. But Uncle Jam's Army is big on the West Coast as far as in LA, the hip hop scene. Uncle, you cannot mention LA hip hop without mentioning Uncle Jim's Army. You cannot mention LA hip hop without speaking on Whirl and Wheels, Rudy Pardee, and the LA Dream Team. You cannot do that. You cannot speak on LA hip hop without speaking on Ice T first and foremost, because as far as like Ice T is all we have. The first thing we had out here. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. You know what I mean? I remember seeing do it up at Radiotron back in the days, just to go up there a little bit. But you know, the West Coast hip hop scene, that's your West Coast hip hop scene foundation. And a little bit more the Wrecking Crew, of course. We can't not forget about Dr. Dre in that. And you had more people out here, but Toddy T, Mixmaster Spade, and that whole movement going on. But we was big on Parliament out here, and then the rap Parliament. Oh my bad, I cannot forget Tommy Boy with the whole Planet Rock, Planet Patrol, Pac Jam, all that was cracking. We all had those the white album covers just plain like that there. So gangbangers started knocking a lot of that. I did. A lot of people I know, we was bumping all that. You go to World on Wheels, they was playing all that. You know what I mean? We was into all that. G Homie still was big on the oldies. We all still listen to the oldies. I listen to oldies to this day. You know what I mean? But at one time, I went through a phase where that's all I listened to, and it's crazy for those who wasn't around to try to fathom a generation where your G homies they was always bumping like, so let the sideshow begin. Niggas just posted up kicking it like this. Niggas just to be out there just posting just like, yeah, cuz like, you know, niggas just getting wet and shit doing their thing, but niggas bumping motherfucking Blue Magic and shit. You know what I mean? We bumping this low stuff, Tim Priest, all this old kind of stuff. It's like, you know, this is every day with the shot lights and stuff. We know the dramatics. We know all this. We know this. If you came up in my time, you know this. All the homies that was in YA, we sent them tapes. These are the tapes the homies in YA had. These are tapes the homies had in prison. This is what we come up on. This is the origin of gangbanging in LA. Oldies, we buck with oldies and George Clinton, then eventually Curtis Blow and Sugar Hill Gang. So when people that do not understand hip hop and like Forest founders, if you from New York, you're gonna go in deeper because that's where it came from. But Forest coming out here, the first taste of rap music that we start bumping out here. No, my man California know how to party. I forgot the name of that. California knows how to party. They was doing their little thing. They was doing their thing. I can't really say too much about them. I listened to that music, but I never had that album. But I did have Curtis Blow. I did have Sugar Hill Gang. I did have Tommy Boy. I did have George Clinton and all that. I did have the whole Atomic Dog and the Atomic Dog extended version. So I didn't had all that, you know what I mean? But that's where it just grew right there. People that do not know that ain't from LA, I don't gotta be no rapper to tell you this, but anybody that's a rapper, anybody that's been around long as me, that's been out there with me, can tell you about the hip hop scene in LA. They gonna tell you the same steps. That's the way it started. How we was bumping the oldies first as gang members, then we slid into of course the funk was cracking, and then we moved on up. But that's hip hop and gang banging on the West Coast in LA in particular, because that's how it started out here. And I still love it. I still listen to a lot of the artists. I listen to a lot of the local cats. I listen to a lot of cats from other states. I just love it. You know what I mean? I just love rap from them. Like Russell Simmons, you just never grow out of that. Hip hop is a culture, just like gang banging. It's a culture, and it's the same because a lot of us is the same as street. It's just gang banging, just more violent than hip hop. Hip hop is supposed to be more about peace. But now you got a lot of gang banging rappers, whereas at first you didn't have that. Now you got rappers that's banging hard, that's giving it up on their songs, representing their hood and all that. So the times has changed. So again, it goes hand in hand. So when you speak on hip hop and people say they don't like hip hop, I don't listen to that hip hop shit. Hip hop is street, just like the gang culture is street. You cannot knock this one because you don't listen to that rap. You say some words that come out your mouth, that's hip hop. If you say that's fly, that's hip hop. You say that's fresh. If you say word up, you saying yo, that's hip hop, bro. That come from the hip hop culture. That's where that come from. It's New York slang, but it came from the hip hop culture. It came to LA by way of hip hop. Correction, hold up. I'm not going yet. I believe I said something incorrect about Forrest Uncle Jam's Army and their club. I said it was called a Playpen. No, that's incorrect. I think it was called Ritz. I think that's what it was. At that time, I wasn't doing no club, and I know they had a lot of clubs. I mean, one of the clubs that a lot of cats my age went to well, it was either 321 in Santa Monica. Some went to the Eve at the Dark in Compton. Well, that's borderline. Yeah, it's Compton, I guess. Compton, LA. I don't have a line, El Segundo. But still, those were young clubs where a lot of cats went to. Like I said, we was big on skating rings. We was big on the sports arena. All the skate rings. I mean, I come up at a time when we, like I said, before they opened up World on Wheels, I started learning how to skate in Arlington Skating Ring, or Arlington, Washington. Then they opened up World on Wheels, probably like 82, somewhere around that time. 82, 80, somewhere around there, I think they opened up World on Wheels. So I done been to all these skating rings, Skate Depot. Never been to Flippers for Hollywood, but that was a popular skating ring spot back in the days. But I have been to the Starlight Skating Ring on Lancashire, and I have been to the Reseda Skating Ring. I actually seen Janet Jackson at the Reseda Skating Ring one time. But this was that era. So that whole early 80s, this is hip hop is growing. Everything, the culture is changing out here as far as music in the streets, the rap scene, the whole party scene. Like I said, Uncle Jam's Army, yo, Kev Mack, you need to go ahead and do one on this one, bro. This might be a good one for you. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know too much about Uncle Jam's Army behind the scene that you probably would know, but somebody need to do something on Uncle Jam's Army because Uncle Jam's Army was big. Uncle Jam's Army is a big staple in the history of LA hip hop. The LA hip hop scene wouldn't be where it's at today without Uncle Jam's Army. Period. And people from Uncle Jam's Army then broke off. Y'all all know about Battle Cat and then Egyptian Love and all the rest of them to spread it out, whatever. Kit Kat Crew and all these cats. But what they did for the city back then can't be done now because the gang problem is worse, far worse than it was back at that time. But shout out Uncle Jam's Army, man. Uncle Jam's Army, yeah, they made history. They part of LA hip hop history. People that don't know, do your research, pull it up. Somebody need to do something. Somebody from LA, not none of these cats that ain't from LA. Let me say that. A lot of you cats that ain't from the city that wasn't around back then, just people that know. Cause there's people out there connected to people. That's why I said, Kid Mac. I had to throw you out there, bro. But Uncle Jam's Army, man, that's a big part of West Coast hip hop history. Ice Cube would tell you that. Ice T would tell you that. All of them would tell you that. And shout out to Cube and Dub C and the whole NWA crew as well, because these is all pioneers and all that. But like I said, I love hip hop. I acknowledge all you cats out here from wherever you're from. Give a damn if your shit hot, you heat it. I like it. But shout out to my little homies as well that's getting it in. Chaos Brawl, Frog, Belizean Chaos, Baby Ben, Tiny Ridge, Southside Renzo, all y'all, man, all the other homies I forgot about. My bad, bro. But keep doing your thing, man. Just keep pressing, keep smashing, do your shit. Stay in the studio, get it cracking, bro. Don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. And like I always say, each day is a new day. Now, let's run that shit back.